Thank you, President. And let me thank Under-Secretary General Masiya and Deputy Director General Ryan for their briefing and also, once again, for the vital work of their staff. The UK, alongside Switzerland, called this humanitarian meeting after yet another alarming warning from the UN. The situation in Gaza is intolerable and worsens with each day that passes. Over 100 hostages remain trapped in Gaza, subject to unimaginable horror. We reiterate our call for Hamas to immediately release them and for ICRC to be granted humanitarian access. And Palestinian children, already suffering, are now facing the imminent threat of a major polio outbreak caused by the devastation of water and sanitation services, as well as widespread malnutrition and famine risk in Gaza. A 10-month-old baby has already been paralysed by this disease, the first such case for 25 years. This is a tragedy that could have been prevented. As we've heard, the UN plans to deliver vaccines as soon as this weekend. We strongly welcome Israel's agreement for pauses on military operations so that the World Health Organization and health agencies can deliver a safe and effective campaign. We now need to see this in action, and these pauses need to be long enough to deliver the 90% coverage required. When the campaign starts and thousands of vulnerable and unaccompanied children gather at vaccination sites, they must all be protected. Israel's ramping up of short-notice evacuation orders, including in areas that should provide safe refuge, is causing more chaos, again leaving Palestinians with no safe place to turn. The UN Department of Safety and Security this week warned us that the UN too is running out of safe places for its staff. They cannot deliver desperately needed aid when IDF mass evacuation orders force them to uproot their homes and offices with just a few hours' notice. Israel must minimize evacuation orders and provide sufficient notice of at least 48 hours. And despite repeated calls by this Council for deconfliction and the protection of aid operations, we continue to see appalling and unacceptable attacks on UN and aid convoys. This conflict already represents the deadliest by far for humanitarian personnel. Just this week, the UN confirmed that the IDF opened fire on a World Food Programme truck which had been fully coordinated with Israel and had UN workers inside. Israel must take immediate steps to protect aid workers. And if its personnel are responsible for incidents, hold them accountable. All parties must abide by their obligations under international humanitarian law. Sadly, President, it's not only in Gaza where we're witnessing violence. We are deeply concerned by rising levels of violence in the West Bank. Over 130 Palestinians, including 26 children, have been killed this month alone. We join the Secretary General in calling for urgent de-escalation. Colleagues, the only way to bring an end to this suffering is an immediate ceasefire. We fully support the ongoing efforts of the US, Egypt and Qatar to reach an agreement on this which will get all the hostages out and significantly more aid in. We call on both Israel and Hamas to urgently take the deal on the table. We must then see irreversible steps towards a two-state solution, the best means of ensuring long-term peace for Israelis and Palestinians alike. Thank you.